Good morning to all of you. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole. I am the new senior minister here. Yes. Thank you. And I've been living in Redondo Beach for a whole 2 weeks now. And I've been in the office for a whole 3 days now. So how good it is to be here. And today I just get to do announcements, and then we'll have our wonderful speaker, Reverend Valerie Reeves, come up. So let me share with you. Yes. So let's see, Reverend Catherine's Science of Mind certificated class, Consciousness in the Creative Process, is tomorrow, starting tomorrow, July 18th at 3 p.m. For more information, check out the active table. On Sunday, July 28th, our drumming circle will be meeting at 12:30 in Richelieu Hall. All are welcome. On Sunday, August 4th, our new senior minister, Reverend Gregory Toole, me, will offer a workshop entitled Relationship as Spiritual Practice from 12:30 to 2. I'm so excited to bring that here. We're looking forward for volunteers for our Sunshine Kids Club. If you are interested, speak to Doris at the front desk. And with summer on the way, it's time for divine dining. We're looking forward to people to host events like movie nights, boat rides, dinners, game nights, parties, or other fun things. Talk with Mark Ruth if you are interested. We're already looking ahead for our huge Hidden Treasure yard sale in September. Please sign up in the foyer if you would like to be on the committee. And looking ahead on August 1st, Thursday, we have our spiritual discussion group at 2 p.m., followed by our labyrinth walk at 3:45 p.m. Our Science of Mind class on Sunday mornings from 10:15 to 10:45 a.m. Join us for a taste of Dr. Ernest Holmes. We offer 2 weekly book study groups for free. For more information, ask at the front desk. Looking for the perfect gift card? Visit our bookstore and discover something truly special. That's a really cool little bookstore we have, huh? And a big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We could not, for sure, do it without you. So thank you for being here this morning. And I want to call forth our wonderful, dynamic speaker, Reverend Valerie Reeves. Let's give her some love.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm hooked.
You got it.
I'm hooked up. Thank you. Yeah, Reverend Gregory got to hear me this morning. I want to do this, and let's do this. So we have all sorts of fun ideas. Anyway, I like to always remind us it is the best day ever, yes? So I was saying that the other day, and somebody said, oh yeah, that's what SpongeBob says. I'm like, SpongeBob SquarePants? I'm sorry, I've not watched it, so I apologize if you're a fan. I haven't been. So today I'm going to talk about embracing life. Embrace your life. Embrace who you are. And we get to do that every single day. And sometimes we forget to embrace ourselves and love ourselves. There was a farmer and his wife, and she was always complaining. And he's outside feeding the donkey, and she's complaining, and the donkey kicked her so hard, it killed her. And so he had a memorial for her, and the minister was watching. All the women came by. You could see him smiling and nodding his head. And then the men would come by, and so he said, the minister went up to the farmer and said, I noticed that all of the women that came by, you were nodding your head, and all the men that came by, you were shaking your head. What was that about? And he said, well, the women came up and said, oh, she looks so beautiful. I'm like, yes, she does. And the men came up, and they were asking, could I have your donkey? He's like, no, I don't want to have that. Sometimes, and that reminds me of Eeyore, because, in Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore was just that negative. And once in a while, we may have people in our lives that just want to carry around the doom and gloom. It's like, okay, put that story down and let's move forward. So in embracing our life, I have a quote, because Grant's on the other side, so I want to give him an opportunity to write. It's a one-man show. Good job, Grant. Ernest Holmes says this in Creative Living: we cannot change the fact that whatever we put into mind will be reflected back to us. But we can change that which is reflected. We can uproot the old and we can implant the new. We can neutralize what is already there, at least be in the neutral position. Because if we are creating our own lives by our thoughts, our beliefs, what we focus on, then we want to make sure that what we're thinking about and what we're focusing on is beautiful and brilliant and amazing. It's like years ago when I was working in the youth in Kansas City, Missouri. I've been everywhere, let me tell you. I was in Kansas City and I was running the youth. My practitioner license was just about ready to expire, and Dr. Chris Michaels said, I will sign that paper and you won't have to take any more classes if you run the youth. I'm like, yeah, best day ever, okay, I'll do it. But you learn so much from kids. And so there was a little boy in there named Colin, and I took a mirror and I said, who is it? And he got so excited and he said, it's me. I thought, okay, when is the last time we did that in a mirror? You get excited, it's me. Although I think of my mom, she was in Chicago once, and she, from a small town in Nebraska, she had never been to a big city. So there she was in Chicago with her new husband, and she didn't know anyone, and he was off doing his thing, and she's wandering around not seeing all these people she didn't know, and all of a sudden she sees a familiar face and she starts waving, and then she realized it was her reflection in the window. So it's like, okay, that's awkward. But sometimes we just need that familiar face and looking at ourselves in the mirror and making peace with the mirror. You know, as we are growing gracefully, all of us, looking in the mirror, sometimes we're finding all the flaws. And, oh, yesterday that pound wasn't there, and yesterday that wasn't there. So putting that aside and remembering who we are and embracing our life and how we are, and remembering that every thought is creating something. So let me just look in the mirror and say, eyes are bright and shiny, ready to go. Life is good, and life is very good, and life is what we created. So I can either drag around with Eeyore, oh, it's just another day, life done me wrong, or I can put that story down and get excited about what's the next step. Something wonderful is unfolding through me, through you, through all of us. I have another quote. Okay, he's good. When challenges come, as they always do, except for us, right? Make it a habit to go within at once and focus on as much as you can on the inner energy field of your body. Focus on that inner energy. Attention is the key to transformation, and full attention also implies acceptance. Attention is like a beam of light, the focused power of your consciousness that transmutes everything into itself. So focusing that beam of light, instead of getting caught up into, oh, something is going wrong, let me focus on my heart's beating, life is good. Let me focus that energy of love and peace and harmony within myself, knowing that everything is getting worked out, that the universe is conspiring, which is Ernest Holmes' words, and I love those words so much, that the universe is always conspiring for our highest and best. And maybe there's something to learn here. I got that learning this last week as I was doing way too much and not allowing other people to help. And I had to have a little lecture from my daughter. Always love that when your children lecture you. Anybody else ever get that? You need to stop doing so much. Take care of yourself better. And make sure that you're tuning into you and not doing everybody else's job. And there's that part. Anybody else a recovering people pleaser? Yeah, it's kind of been where I've been. And so I have to remember that the most important person that we please is ourselves. It's that balance in life. As Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. Because if we're true to ourselves, then we're in balance and we're true to everyone else. And for me, I would rather people say no, I don't want to go to lunch with you, or I don't want to do this, than to go and be mad that they went. So I can handle that disappointment if somebody cancels at last minute. What I can't handle is somebody going and it's like, oh, I wish I would have done something else. So making sure that we're really tuning in and not blaming anyone else because, oh, they made me go to lunch with them, or I didn't get to do what I wanted. We went there because that's what they wanted to do. I remember that movie. How many of you saw the movie Runaway Bride? Where she didn't know what kind of eggs that she went. So she kept running away from everything because she hadn't embraced who she is. So taking time every day to, who am I today and what do I want to express? Love, joy, goodness. That's what I want to express. And I'm knowing that if I'm doing that from within, then I'm going to get more of that on the outside world. Like attracts like. And being aware of what we're focusing on. I know Wayne Dyer used to say, look around a room, notice everything in here that's green. Notice everything that's green. And with your eyes closed, tell me everything that's pink. I don't know. I didn't focus on that. So what we focus on expands, making sure that we're opening our eyes to expand our own horizon and be aware of what we're focusing on. If I'm always focusing on nothing's ever working out for me, I take the Eeyore syndrome, nothing's ever working out for me, then I just get more of that. So within, so without. And this last couple weeks, there's been a lot of things happening in the universe. And I am reminded by Shaka Gawain from Creative Visualization. She said when she sees something out there, because we know in this philosophy that the world is our mirror. And so if I see something out there, what in me created that? I could take that on as guilt or anger or frustration, or I could tune into the universe and say, universe, clean that up in me, whatever supports that. Whether it be violence, whether it be anger, whether it be poverty, whatever it is, whatever in me is supporting that, clean that up in me. Because as we clean it up in ourselves, it has to be clean in everyone around us. Because like attracts like. And pretty soon, as we keep mushrooming out to the world, everyone's at that beautiful, peaceful space. That's what I'm knowing. So the greatest thing we can do for the world is to love ourselves, be at peace with ourselves, be at peace with everyone around us, and get into that childlike energy and spirit. It's me, yeah. Remember who you are, embrace who you are, just as you are and just as you aren't. You know, as I was becoming a minister, it's like, could I be more like Dr. Chris Michaels? He was fabulous, loved him so much. We did our own teen camp back in Kansas City because it was very expensive to fly all the way out, and we used to do it out here in California. So we took all the teens from the Center for Spiritual Living in Kansas City and made our own little camp. There was a little retreat center, so we did that. And Chris Michael said, yeah, I don't camp, I glamp. So I'm like, well, I support you in that. But he came out and he did a ritual with the boys. He said, I'm going to take the boys and take them through a ritual. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to create something for the girls. And so we went out into the woods and put on some berry makeup out there, enjoying and embracing nature and embracing who we are. My youngest son, Andrew, was in that group with Dr. Chris Michaels with the boys, and to this day, he has not breathed a word of what they did for their rituals, so I don't even know. But creating little rituals for ourselves to honor and bless the day, bless who we are, bless how we are, and embrace who we are. Of course, there's always someone we can look at, because after I left there and I went to San Jose with Dr. David Bruner, I'm like, oh, why couldn't I be like him? Oh, he's so cool. And yet, I am who I am, he is who he is, so we get an opportunity to not want to be like anyone else, but be like our own authentic self, because then we're real and then we're true to who we are. No one can be anyone else, and no one can be the brilliant you that you are. So, wow, there's nobody else like me. We like people that are maybe common to us and have some of the like-mindedness. However, each person is so different and unique that that's where we get to come together and have great conversations about, oh, you do this, that's really cool, tell me more about that. And you do this, and you do so much art. It's like, oh, how do you do that? It's so beautiful and brilliant. I can't color in the lines, so finding other artists is really a great thing. But embracing every part. So I'm going to task everyone today with finding the unique specialness of yourself that maybe you haven't discovered yet. I have another quote. And Grant is right there for it. The people who help us grow towards true self offer unconditional love, neither judging us to be deficient nor trying to force us to change, but accepting us exactly as we are. It surrounds us with a charged force field that makes us want to grow from the inside. So I said I had a lecture from my daughter, Keeping in Balance. I also, all the way down here from Apple Valley, had a great conversation with a very dear friend of mine who actually happens to be my board president up in Apple Valley. And so we had great conversation, and it was kind of a, one of those come to Jesus talks. You really are doing too much. You need to go back in balance, stay in your lane, allow other people, don't enable other people to get away with doing nothing when this is their job, that's their job, and this is your job. So celebrate who you are and keep bringing your brilliance. Because as we keep overextending, oh, and none of us have done that, right? Then we are totally off balance, and we fall. And the only person we can be angry at is ourselves. Because I wasn't being mindful in the moment, and I was overdoing too much, instead of staying in balance, allowing other people to do what they do, and sometimes allowing other people to have the opportunity to grow. Grow and ask somebody else to do it, grow and have another support system, but really tuning into ourselves and being at that balance space. How does this make me feel if I go this way? How does this make me feel if I go that way? I have another quote about making decisions. Every human has 4 endowments. I wasn't sure if I put this one up there or not. 4 endowments: self-awareness, conscience, hopefully we have that, independent will, and creative imagination. This gives us the ultimate human freedom, the power to choose, to respond, to change. We get the opportunity to respond appropriately to things in life that are happening. Now, we've got those 2 words: I can react or I can respond. I love the metaphor of you go to a doctor's office and they give you medication and they say, oh, you're having a reaction to the medication. That's a negative. Or if they say, oh, you're responding to the medication, that's a positive. So in life, when life done us wrong or something has happened, we want to find ways to respond appropriately. Not that knee-jerk reaction that sometimes we have. Oh, this is horrible. But to go inside ourselves and to put that beam of light inside ourselves and shine on that awareness inside. My heart is beating. I'm breathing in the fullness of life, which is one of my favorite affirmations. I breathe in the fullness of life because that keeps our lungs nice and healthy. That reminds us to live life to the fullest. So I breathe in the fullness of life, and life is good. And I can take a moment before I jump into that reaction to tune into myself and say, how can I respond in a way that's going to work for me and work for everyone else? It's like, okay, staying in balance. Let me go to meditation. Let me go to spiritual mind treatment. Let me get aware of myself and my responses. Because we are response-able. That's how responsible we are. We are response-able. So making sure that we are responding appropriately for our life. I had a lot of quotes today, so I have another one. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Sometimes we have to be able to change our mind. And once in a while, for me, I don't know about any of you, but once in a while I need just a moment for an attitude adjustment because I thought we were going to do this and now we're not. And I was really looking forward to this and now we're not. So let me take a moment to attitude adjust. Okay, something wonderful is unfolding. All is well. Bringing forth a good attitude, feeling good about myself, because when we get upset and we're staying in that frustrated space, it doesn't serve anyone, especially ourselves. That's where we get that dis-ease or disharmony in our bodies. And we want that to keep flowing with ease and grace and love and be in the beautiful dance of life, the flow of life, the brilliance of life, and remember the brilliance that's flowing through. So flowing through with brilliance and love, embracing who we are, wouldn't it make sense that every day we recognize the divinity of who we are? Oh yeah, I'm going to recognize the divinity of who I am, bad hair day, this is happening. And we talk ourselves down from our brilliance sometimes. I'm sure none of you ever do that. So putting that aside, today I really charge to you to find the playfulness, the love, the excitement of who you are. And maybe we have to dig a little deeper. It's like the two twins. The one goes in there and, oh, there's all this poo in there, and I just really wanted a pony. And the other kid comes in and starts digging through the poo and said, I know there's a pony in here somewhere. It's like, what are we looking for? Are we looking for the good or are we looking for the bad? Because we will find it. You know, the universe is always conspiring for our highest and best, and we have that belief system about something. Then we find all the evidence to support it. Well, let me find the evidence to support that the universe is supporting me, loving me, and guiding me. And the only thing that I need to do is get out of my own way, because I get in my own way a lot of times, and I keep running into myself. It's like, all right, stop, settle down. It's like the story with Thich Nhat Hanh, great Buddhist monk who did make his transition a couple years ago, but he had his little niece visiting him. And so he made some homemade apple juice, and she had some friends over, and he had poured the glasses of apple juice because she said she was thirsty, and he said, okay, I'm going to go back in and meditate. And she's like, look at mine, it's all dirty. And he said, no, it's pulpy, because she got the last glass. All the others were clear, and hers was all pulpy. And he said, no, it's really good, it's just the apple pulp. She said, I'm not going to drink it, that makes me sad. And I'm just a little girl. So she was pouting for a while. He's like, well, I'm going to go meditate. So he went back and meditated. Pretty soon she's knocking on the door, Uncle Monk, Uncle Monk. And he came out and she said, look it, all of it's settled, it's clear now. And he said, yeah, I told you it was just the pulp, it all settles down. And she said, oh, the apple juice is like you. That's why you meditate, to settle everything down. So sometimes we need to step into that meditation part to, not sometimes, every day. Trust, if I don't meditate every single day, then things don't go as well. When I take time in the morning to meditate, everything is beautiful and synchronistic. So taking time to allow all of those thoughts to settle, and then we can see things clearly. So as you allow the dust and those thoughts to all settle, seeing things clearly, see the playful love, goodness in you. And I'm going to encourage everyone today to get some Play-Doh or get a Frisbee or get some kind of toy, because it is like play day today. It's a beautiful day in Redondo Beach, so finding something to play with as you embrace and love yourself. And so ends the lesson. Thank you. Thanks. So now it is that giving time. We have our beautiful volunteer, Ruth, who is here, that knowing that as we give, we absolutely do receive. And when we give, I like to just keep the hands open and know that life is bringing goodness, goodness, goodness always to us. So let's say our affirmation together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper. All those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Knowing that, I was joking with Reverend Gregory this morning. It's like, you know, we haven't really sang on a Wednesday. Maybe he would just sing. He's like, yeah, I'll do that sometime. Maybe not today. But this is usually a time when we're singing, I am so blessed, or something else. And I think of those words of how blessed we are to have the freedoms that we have, to have the brilliance that we have, and to live in one of the greatest spaces in the world with the ocean and the sunshine. And, you know, kid growing up in Nebraska, we could only dream of it as we watched Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicelli. It's like, we're going to get to the beach. So things happened and got us, my sister and I, to California so we could be here. So I am knowing that there is goodness and greatness happening right here Is anyone have any questions, comments, words of wisdom, or looking for treatment? I know that we have a dear friend of ours. Is that what you're going to talk about? Yeah. Yes, okay.
I was going to mention dear Beverly. She's probably finishing her surgery right now. So if we could pray for her
Absolutely.
and her recovery.
Yes.
And also my cousin, she has leukemia. She's 15, and she's doing really well now. So just open prayers for her as well.
Great, great. Well, let's just go into prayer right now. And I did talk to Beverly last night, and then I sent her a song. Did you know that AI creates music? My son will put the words in there, so he added, I'm so grateful for everything, best day ever. So I sent her that song, and she's like, oh, that is such a great song. So I am knowing let's just close our eyes to any distractions for this moment, as we just close our eyes for a moment. Just breathing in the fullness of life. Knowing that there is one mind, one power, one infinite intelligence that is guiding and directing. It is flowing through every cell in our bodies. I know it flows through me as it flows through each and every person here. We are absolutely one in that divine, cosmic, beautiful energy. As I speak my word and claim that there is beautiful healing, that David's niece, that Beverly, that all of us are in divine health, harmony, wholeness, that always the right people show up, that spirit flows through the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare workers, that there is love flowing through each and every one of us, that we just say yes, yes, yes to the love, to the abundance, to the opulence, to the healing, and to the goodness that is happening right now. And it's really just a revealing of the wholeness of who we are. And in great, great gratitude, knowing it's already done and complete, I just release my word knowing all is well. And so it is. So it is. Okay, Grant is running around. Let's give Grant a hand. He's been doing such a great job. Thank you, Grant. Anybody else have a question, comment, words of wisdom? Okay, yeah, Ann has. Mm-hmm.
Well, I loved your message, and I've really made use of it. I knew that I needed it this morning, and I've really settled in and said all those affirmations to myself. It's really great. I just want to thank everybody who has supported Beverly in this adventure that she's going through, that got transferred from 5 o'clock this morning to 9:30 this morning, which was interesting. She's doing great, and she was so touched by the Tuesday morning class, sending her that card. She commented about that. I just want to thank everybody for supporting her so well and making such a difference for her. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. You know, when I talked to her last night, one of the things she said, life is really about family, friends, and community. I thought that's so beautiful, and it's so true. Family, friends, and community, because without that, we'll just be standing here alone, and having everybody here to rally around and support and love, knowing that we're all being loved up. Yeah, thank you. All right. Maybe Grant, hand the microphone to Reverend Gregory. Does anybody have any questions for Reverend Gregory?
Grab that one right there.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I like to do this. This is fun, yeah?
Oh, let me go and mute it.
Oh, he has
Sorry.
to go turn it on. So Reverend Gregory started Monday. I've known Gregory. We were talking about, we had a photo together. That was years ago. We couldn't remember where we were, either an ordination or intensive or something, but somewhere we have crossed paths. So I knew the gentle, amazing energy that Reverend Gregory is, and I know great things are in store for all of us here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to answer any questions. So you can ask anything you want. I may not answer. No, you can ask anything you want. They also used to have something called like Stump the Minister, where you ask a really, interesting spiritual question or whatever. But yeah, it's so good to be here with all of you. It's so good. I started this process of applying back like 4 months ago. So it's kind of been a beautiful moment to like actually be here, because I started to put my application in back on March 15th, actually. So I actually started 4 months exactly to the day that I began to apply for this role. So sweet to be here. It feels like a real manifestation for myself, and just loving everyone that I'm getting to meet and know, and so excited about what we're going to do together. So is there anyone that wants to ask anything of me? We'll go
we
to
have
right here
questions.
and then go back
Yep.
to David there. I'll give you the mic.
Thank you. Could you tell us, excuse me, how you came to this teaching?
Oh. Wow, let's see. I got to see if we'll get the short version or the long version. Let's see. Gosh, I kind of came out of the womb as one of these little spiritual kids, and so I came in kind of knowing some things, and at least in those times, little kids weren't supposed to know anything. So I had a lot of adults saying, wait, you're a kid, you don't know anything, be quiet, but there was this wisdom that wanted to come through. And so I've been on a spiritual journey for a long time. I started meditating when I was 19 and read a book by J. Krishnamurti that really just awakened. So that combination of meditating and reading this J. Krishnamurti book just kind of awakened all of that in me that had been hidden and latent for a while. So it kind of began there, but I didn't find a spiritual community for many, many years later. I was just sort of like this closet metaphysician, I would call it, right? Because I would tell people, I grew up in Philadelphia, and I would tell people, like, oh, have you ever had, and it was like these mystical experiences I had, and I would tell people like, oh, did you ever have that experience? And people would take a couple steps back, and they would look at me really strangely, and so I was like, okay, you got to be quiet about this. They're going to put you away somewhere. You better be quiet. So I kept it to myself until I was 35. And when I was 35, the Celestine Prophecy book had come out, and something about that book just got me invigorated again to say, you know what, you got to really honor this part of yourself. So I started talking to people about my spirituality, and two people that I knew started telling me about a church, which normally I would have said, oh boy, okay, a church, okay, no, thank you. But they kept saying it was based on what I was saying. And so I showed up and immediately just took to the teaching. I came in November of 1994 in Oakland, East Bay Church of Religious Science it was called, and the foundational class, the Science of Mind 1 class, wasn't offered until January, but I was so into it that I read the whole thick textbook, 500 pages or whatever. I read the whole thing in the first month because I really just wanted to get into this. And so the rest is history. I mean, I was in from that moment on, and it just took every class I could take, and the next thing you knew, I was becoming a practitioner, and yes, so that's where I got started.
Nice, great.
Thank you for that question. Anyone else want to ask anything? Oh yes, David was there.
You worked with Reverend Michael at some capacity, and I was wondering how that went about.
Reverend Michael Beckwith?
Beckwith, yeah.
Yes, I actually graduated from ministerial school at the Agape, through Agape when it was part of Centers for Spiritual Living. So I took some classes directly with Reverend Michael. But before that, he was an influence on me because my minister, he was kind of a mentor to my minister, Reverend Eloise Oliver in Oakland. So he came to Oakland a number of times to work very directly with us in a small setting. And in many ways, between Reverend Eloise, Dr. Eloise Oliver, and him, they were my inspirations for becoming a minister, because I would go down to LA from the Bay Area. I lived in the Bay Area, and I would go down to LA when I first got into the teaching and go to Agape, and I was like, wow, I love what he's done here, and I love the way he's showing up. And even though I would only come maybe a few times a year, he would still recognize me, and he would come up to me, and he would talk to me, he would know me, and I just loved what he was doing. So yeah, he's had a major influence on me becoming a minister and just just who he is. Yeah, I really admire him.
Also, I'm moving to a new apartment. I've lived with the same roommate for 34 years off and on.
Wow.
He's like my brother. He's like a parent in a way too. And I'm wondering how many advice how to tell him that I'm moving.
Oh. Very carefully, no, very gently. I think just creating the space for these kind of conversations, really just making sure that the time is right. It's like, not if he's like running out the door or something, but like really just saying like, hey, I really need to talk to you. Is there's a time when we could come together and talk, and then just really creating that space and really, speaking of all the good. I mean, you've been living together for 34 years. Obviously, there's been a lot of really good there. So really just honoring all the good that has been there, and then just acknowledging whatever it is that are your reasons that it's now time for you to move on. Yeah. Because it's really about you anyway, right? It's not about him. It's about something moving in you that's shifting. And so really acknowledge that, right? Really acknowledge that this is what's shifting in me, and I really appreciate this 34 years that we've been able to live together. Yeah. That's what comes to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm hearing that it's not you, it's me.
Yes.
Take him to lunch, be in a public place. Yeah, no, just kidding. Great advice. Communication is great. So excellent. Thank you for allowing us to just,
Yes.
spur of the moment, put you on the spot.
Yes, I'll fade back over here.
All good. I'm just going to close this out with a little treatment. Knowing that you are in beautiful, amazing hands here, that all the rest of us are here supporting too, knowing that this is such a beautiful, wonderful center, that it is the community, the family, the friends that are here. We show up to remind ourselves who we are. As I speak my word and claim that each and every person here today embraces exactly who they are, with playfulness, with joy, with that openness, allowing the goodness to flow. And in great gratitude for the fun, playful, beautiful, amazing family, friends, and community that we have right here. I just release my word, knowing all is well as we celebrate the best day ever. And so it is. Yeah. Have a great day. Yeah, thank you.